put this into your mind. As you look at everybody that's on this call here, examine or what does it feel like in your body? Just look through. We got like 12, 13 of us here, or 11 of us, I think. Let's go from person to person and just what does it feel like to see all these beautiful faces? Not what your thinking mind wants to tell you, but rather what it feels like in your body. Good. All right. Now, what I would like to ask, once again, welcome. A few admin things that I want to cover before we get started into the formal portion of the discussion. Shanta, which is the Yoga for Change, I think it's on my upper left-hand corner of my screen. Yeah, she's waving there. She is our IT support today. We would not be able to do this without her. If you have any issues that you're unable to resolve as far as your computer or whatnot, you can reach out to her. She'll be able to help you out with that. She's also going to be monitoring this thing called this chat box that I'm going to get rid of here in a second once we start talking. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to type that in. And so speaking of typing, before we do get started, I'd like everybody to type in where they are calling from, where they're dialing in from or logging in from, like me, and I'll be the Fort Richard, Florida. There we go. Thank you, David. And so, yeah, y'all know where the chat box is. Please, if you have a comment or a question, put that in. I can't guarantee we will get to questions. There's a possibility, though, that the comments may be added in. I don't know. We'll see how this thing works. All right, good. St. Augustine, Jacksonville, Orlando, Gainesville, Fort Myers, New Hampshire. All right, Pine Key, I hope you all are looking really good now. Awesome. Perfect. Miami, Boston, Ohio. So we got people from all over the place. This is awesome. All right, so now what I'm going to ask you, though, is if you're not on the discussion panel, would you please turn your video off? And then if you're not part of the discussion panel, also to go on mute. God. And so how this is going to work, I've got 3 of us here today. I want to apologize. Catherine was supposed to be on with us today. She had some things that popped up, so she was unable to be with us today. I know that, you know, our hope is that, you know, she is with the utmost health and well-being and doing what she needs to do, and I know she is. So she does send her regards, and hopefully sometimes we can do this again in the future, but we'll see. So Kevin, can you turn your video off, please, sir? And then where is Mr. Ray at? All right, now I think, let me pen you all. All right, cool. All right, now we're all set up, good. All right, so how this is gonna work, we're going to start with Mike and then Ray and then me. We're going to take a few minutes to talk about ourselves and, you know, what we do and how we came about yoga maybe, and then also answer the question, why does yoga work for veterans? So, all right, without further ado, go ahead. Mike, thank you.
Forrest, thanks. I see many of the names on here. I know I'm Mike Fleming. Was enlisted an officer in the Marine Corps and then changed to the Army. And served about 35 years, retired as a brigadier general. So, and pretty active, fortunately, in the veteran space in Northeast Florida, get to work with many of the people here. I work for Cohen Veterans Network. We provide outpatient mental health care for veterans and military families. And I'm the outreach manager for the whole network, which is 24 clinics across the United States. Was the outreach director for the Jacksonville clinic. And that's where I became involved with yoga. I'd actually met Catherine Thomas, who founded Yoga for Change probably 4 or 5 years ago as an event, heard about it, but really didn't act on it. But then when I became the outreach director for the Cohen Clinic in Jacksonville, we're always looking for ways that we can provide support, not just to the veterans who are our clients, but also the military family and the greater Jacksonville, both military and veteran ecosystem. Because in Jacksonville, as you know, we have 2 Navy bases in Jacksonville. We have Kings Bay just over the border in Georgia, so it's considered the tri-base. So we're always looking for ways that we can provide services. And so we got connected with Yoga for Change, and our clinic hosted Yoga for Change for almost a year, 2 sessions a week. And it really was something that was very well received. We were kind of transitioning out of COVID, so we had a combination of in-person and virtually, but we're provided for that. And then we worked with Lavender with Humana and the USO to provide something called Mommy and Me Yoga, also with Yoga for Change, because we wanted to expand it beyond the individual veterans and also include the families to get people starting doing that earlier. And the one we hosted in our clinic was specifically for women and women with combat trauma. And we really felt like yoga would be something that would be really, really helpful for them, which obviously it was. And so we were able to do that, because the nice thing is there's kind of the partnership for Yoga for Change. Yoga for Change has such great experts and people who can provide the training through yoga training and how to really have it immerse themselves into it. And so that's how I got involved with it. And then I do yoga, not probably as often as I should, but for me personally, it's been very relaxing. It's been very almost a cleansing of the mind is what I would say for yoga for me, what it does. But again, one of the things that I think has been great is learning more about the effects of it. And many people are looking for alternatives to, having to be prescribed drugs and things, and maybe some tensions in their lives. And yoga has really been something for me individually, but also for our clinic is another option that we were able to offer to provide outreach and services to our both our veterans and their families.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. So what I want everybody to do now is just for these next few moments is maybe you take a few breaths with this. I'm not sure how you want to do it, but what does it feel like in your body that now that you've heard what Mike said, that, look, this is an option. Yoga being an option, what does that feel like in your body? I mean, your mind's going to go all over the place, right? And that's okay. But where does it feel in your body? All right, good. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. All right, Ray, your turn, buddy.
Yeah. Well, welcome everybody. And again, I'm a lifelong Air Guardsman reservist. Like the general, I spent 35 years in from Air Guard, North Dakota, Georgia, and I grew up in Treasure Island, Florida, and went to Admiral Farragut Academy. So did basic 3 times, Navy, Air Force, and then as an officer. So just couldn't get enough of it. Just liked what I did. I was a mechanic and loved airplanes and just kept on going, and ended up being everything from a safety officer to a maintenance to logistics plans, and everything from pararescue at Milburn and Cape Canaveral to running groups and wings and deployments from Kyrgyzstan to Djibouti. It all added up to me. But the common theme to a reservist is it's a 3-legged stool. You have your military career, your civilian career, and your family, and you jump from each one. So in my case, I, for example, did crash investigations. And in my 3 years doing crash investigations, I did as many as the NTSB investigator would do in a career. And in all those things, you go do it and then switch back to your civilian job. And I just taught myself to bury all those things. And so with all that experience and leading other people and taking care of them, you just didn't take care of yourself. And one of the things that creeps up on that is, you suppress all those things for years and years. And I finally got up to being in the civilian world. Right now, I'm the treaty compliance officer and the continuity or mission assurance officer here at Wright Pat. And I make sure we can continue to do the mission if we can't do it in our normal location or whatever we need to do. Just like when I was down at Patrick, I'd be the last guy to turn off the lights and rescue would go off and get ready for a hurricane to come sweeping through. We plan for the worst and hope for the best. And that was my job. I was the guy that always thought of the worst and trained people really hard. And knock wood, we only had 2 industrial accidents and 1 suicide in 35 years. So we did really well at that. But the toll of that is you suck it up buttercup. And that was not good training for us. And we've learned in yoga, what it did for me is I literally broke down after my last deployment in 2012 and had to rebuild myself. And thank goodness, I had Dr. Larry James, who was of Fixing Health fame. It's a book about the psychologist that fixed Abu Ghraib and also Gitmo. And he had me crying within 5 minutes of seeing him. And that was traumatic for me because I was still leading and commanding and thinking everything was just fine, and suddenly have all that just come out of me. And part of that resonated was getting back to the present, so you were no longer numb with your feelings, whether they were great feelings or bad feelings. You just went numb because you were so overloaded with all the tragedy and stuff that you had dealt with for years that you just put behind you. And what yoga does for me is it brings me into the present and maintains me in the presence. And that allows you to feel again where you had gone numb. And most people don't, I will never experience birth like a woman does. And I don't think any combat veteran can really explain to somebody that hasn't done it what that's like, to have somebody actively trying to kill you. But dealing with that emotion, those subroutines that drove into you what you're going to do, and how quickly a little kid playing ball near the side of the road will do to you if you experience those things. And yoga is that thing that balances out that dinosaur brain and keeps you in the present and makes you realize where you are, whether it's the feeling of the floor or, you breathing. Those are the things that really help me and make life normal for me. And that is why everybody says, oh, you're a colonel. No, I am just a general issue GI that did what he was told to and did his best job. And we all did that. And yoga for change for veterans, I think, is that connection that gets everybody back to that normalcy where you can see what you're doing, but not act on it. You can keep that balance. And that, I think, is what yoga for change, yoga for veterans is. It embodies that. And I do it at least twice a week. And it keeps me in balance no matter what I'm facing. So I encourage everyone to enjoy that and stay connected and enjoy feeling emotions again and keep moving forward.
Thank you, Ray. And so, so everyone, please just take these next few moments and now feel in your body what it's like now that you've heard what Ray had to say. What does it feel like in your body? God. So I'm Forrest. I'm lead teacher here at Yoga for Change in the Tampa chapter. I'm also the director of mindfulness for Deaf and Hard of Hearing Services Florida. I teach adaptive yoga for Warrior Wellness Program as well as Wounded Warrior Project's South Florida chapter. I spent about 10 years in the Army. I deployed as well. I was a captain. My transition I struggled with both from, like Ray was saying, from combat into my regular job, and then not only from out of the military into the civilian world. And some of those struggles led me into some places that I've really, you could say not proud of, whatever you want to put that at. And I came to yoga because I had a friend telling me that I need to reach out to a local nonprofit that provided alternative therapies. There's that word, alternative, for combat veterans. And after getting hounded for about 2 weeks, I said, oh, okay, I'll call him. The day I called, they were saying, oh, we got a gentle yoga and IRAS class happening today. And I was like, well, I guess that's telling me I need to go. I was recovering from ankle surgery, so I couldn't stand. And I was like, well, I'm here. And I didn't know what I was going to experience. And afterwards, I still didn't know what I experienced. I just knew I wanted more. And because of that experience, I decided to commit to 1 to 2 classes per week, which eventually led to 3 to 4. And I'm not trying to change anything in my life except committing to practicing yoga. And I'm hanging out with some friends. And a friend of mine says, bro, whatever you're doing it, keep doing it. Bro, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So that's the long version of my answer to why yoga works for veterans. The short answer is because I practice. But if I'd have given you the short answer, you wouldn't understand what this thing about yoga is. So take a few moments now and notice what it feels like in your body now, knowing that you just got to show up. But a great sense of relief comes upon me when I realize that it's all within and I don't have to do anything else except show up. And oh, by the way, one thing, because what, that salesman says, but wait, there's more. That time where I transitioned from 1 to 2 to 3 or 4, I was probably sleeping through 90% of those classes. So all I was doing was showing up, taking a nap. Yeah. But I want to talk about something, that alternative thing. So, and I think both of you mentioned something about this yoga thing being an alternative to whatever. And so I want to kind of go into a little bit more and talk about that. I think, Mike, you mentioned it, of being an alternative to being prescribed drugs. So do you have any more, so for me, I know that I can go into a yoga or even a meditation. IRES meditation is what I'm trained in, but meditation is meditation, I say. And I don't feel pain. And I've even had students who are like, normally I would take a pain pill and I don't take them now.
Right.
So is there any more you would like to share on that?
Yeah, I think mindfulness is, it's I say underrated in my mind, because I think people don't think about the power of your mind. I think I was on the United States military pentathlon team, and one of the things they had us do was do visualization. We ran an obstacle course, and you just run through it to where you're teaching your mind what the body's going to experience, but to concentrate on things. And I find there's a lot of similarities with the yoga, in that the mindfulness and becoming aware of things, and sometimes, frankly, accepting either things in your life, or it may be a physical injury or something, but a way to accept that and give yourself a sense of peace about it. And once I find that, then I find that my blood pressure goes down, my pulse goes down, and some of the things maybe I thought I needed to, I need to go do this or take a pill for something. I found out I don't have to, because, medicine's great, but sometimes there's side effects. there's no side, well, let me say, there's only positive side effects for yoga, right? A sense of mindfulness and things. So when you always think about being prescribed something, the doctor normally says this is what it's going to do for you, and this is what it's going to do to you. And with yoga, it's all positive because again, and it helps yourself be in control, because I think that's one of the things sometimes with veterans, they feel like they're maybe not in control of their lives because many of us, because we served for so long, had maybe a great experience or got used to it. Then you come out, you transition out, and maybe you think, gosh, I don't fit in this world. I'm loose. I'm not tethered to anything. And then the mindfulness can bring you back to a place where you can find peace with your situation, whatever it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Ray, do you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, I think it's exactly the same. I think it's a matter of being a veteran, and you question, especially like in myself, when you suppress a memory, you question whether it's reality or it's you, and the rest of the world's fine, and you're the one that's off kilter. And I think the mindfulness brings it back to you're grounded, and what you're experiencing is what you're experiencing. It is not that you're alienated. It's just you've had life experiences that change your view. But to be able to anchor yourself in the present and view that objectively, it's sort of like the old saying, the person can't see the forest because he's looking right at a tree. And, yoga gives you that view of you can see the trees again. And you don't realize that you're staring at that tree because you think you have a view of everything. And actually, you're very narrow, very tactical, and you're not seeing the larger picture around you and how you're interrelating with the world. And I think that's the thing that yoga, meditation, and these other sources gives you, is that perspective. And for a veteran, getting out of that you're screwed up and your brain is screwed up, that you're not thinking logically, is more defeating than anything. It's you're a danger to be around your own family. And once that starts creeping in, you're on a downward hill slide, and where it stops, nobody knows, but it can be stopped almost immediately by, hey, did you hear those sounds in your room? I mean, just the 3 or 4 lines that we use in the yoga for change practice every time will, like you said, bring down the blood pressure, just make you realize that, hey, you're here, and not let your thoughts race ahead of you.
Right. And that's really, really good, both of you. And I'm glad that you brought the mindfulness in here, because that's something that I know for myself. I'm like, mindfulness. I know we didn't invent this whole thing in the Western world. I know we didn't do it. So I decided to kind of delve into some other things. And I realized that, yes, I mean, it's the buzzword for mental health, and I'm not downing any of it, because it's really a good, if I think about it, it's really what I'm doing with my iRest meditation practice, as well as trying to stay within my senses. But I also realized that this Zen thing and this Chi thing, it's really just mindful. And then what's also, there's something that comes to mind, and this is kind of a deep yogi thing. They say, oh, well, the Zen is an open secret. Well, yeah, it's an open secret because it's what we feel in our body. And the reason why it's a secret is because we've tried to shut that out for so long, right? Based upon our experiences, because that's all we knew. We're not taught how to feel in our bodies. We're taught, I think, therefore I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I try to feel in my body, I mean, it's either it goes to I'm hitting a brick wall because it's not a sensation that I like and I've had to process, or I just don't know how to feel it. But then you guys talked about visualization, and I kind of want to talk a little bit about that, and then how is that tied to your inner now? And if you don't do visualization at all, that's fine. But Ray, would you like to say anything about that?
Yeah, I think that having, call it visualization or just thinking that you have a future is, you know, it's an incredible gift people to have, as in if you don't think you have a future and you've screwed things up or whatever, again, that's a deepward slide down, where if you visualize that you're getting along with your family and everything's going well and you're supporting your kids or whatever you may step out and want to visualize in the future, and you can keep that in mind, again, even in combat, you're thinking, hey, when I get home, I'm going to have Thanksgiving dinner and things are going to be great with the family. That carries you through that period. And when you don't have something to look forward to and can keep focus on that, or you start getting into what I call the negative tornado, where you are thinking of only the negative things and all the negative things that are going to come from it, what you seek, you will find. So if you're seeking a negative outcome, or you think you're going to have a negative outcome, you're going to find it. Where if you're looking for that visualization or that positive outcome, you're working all toward it and you're going to overcome the hurdles, because you don't think no matter what you do, you're going to fail.
Right. No, and I can't disagree with any of that, Ray. I guess the question that I would follow up with all of that is, if you were to take that visualization and maybe you did it while you had it and then feel what that was like. So, okay, so instead of saying, okay, when I get out of here, I'm going to go have Thanksgiving dinner, and say, okay, I'm to go ahead and say that, but then pause for that moment. And what does that feel like to have Thanksgiving dinner with your family?
Yeah, it's that
All
warm of the chest feeling.
And so I had a student just recently that said, I never taught her before. It was like second class I had her. And she said, pausing to feel in our bodies is sometimes just what we need to give us that boost to get us through to the finish line.
Mm-hmm. I can see it.
Yeah. Mike, do you have anything to say on this?
Yeah, what you really just said, Forrest, hit me. Slow down. I mean, it really, because we're all doing important things. But then sometimes when you look back at something, was it really that important? Did I really need to get all worked up about X, Y, or Z? Now, some things you should, but I think about kind of day to day with work and different things that we get all worked up about it. And you look back and say, it really wasn't all that important. So to me, the mindfulness that Ray was describing in a lot of ways helps us give perspective on that. It slows us down and says, okay, why am I really upset here? Why am I getting worked up? Is this something that I should be worked up on? And if it is, what actions do I need to take? Or am I getting worked up about something that really, it's not that important? So I think the mindfulness helps you kind of prioritize things and get a better view. It's like, I don't know, it's like if you look at something and then you walk around it, you take a view from a different angle, and sometimes something looks different. And to me, that's what yoga does with mindfulness. It's almost like you can take and you can go, okay, let me look at this from a different angle, and maybe I can assess this, and maybe I can react to it a different way.
Yeah. You're here.
Absolutely. So what was that? I didn't hear what you said, right?
I just said here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I mean, it's like, absolutely. I mean, before yoga, it was all like, as soon as I was reacting to whatever came into this. And now, because this has to process all of this, like you said, Mike, I'm able to see other perspective or another perspective. Maybe it's multiple, maybe it's only one other one, but I don't know about y'all, but I was taught two is better than one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Yeah, I mean, Mary says here, yes, true allows for better choices, more awareness, and more perspective, and less reactive. So we're all saying that. Now, I want to tie a couple things in though that you both, it's almost like you were talking about something different, but I think it's really kind of the same, and it's tying in exactly with what we're talking about here with mindfulness. Mike, you talked about cleansing of the mind, and Ray, you said getting back to the present. And I'm going to say those are the same. And so I don't know what you all and whoever wants to talk about that.
I'll go ahead, and I would have to say it is the same thing. Because, for example, when you're, I would like to say when I was commanding and stuff, I prided myself on knowing what the other perspectives were and making sure I had all the critical facts and could be in that third party mode and make logical decisions. But yet when I experienced PTSD and went over the top, I lost that ability. And yoga is that cleansing of the mind, or allows you to be in the present so that you can get those different perspectives again, or consider what that other person may be thinking or what their viewpoints are, so that you can logically engage with them or logically engage with the environment you're in, where, when you haven't cleansed the mind or whatever, it's clouded and you're reacting to whatever you see immediately. You're not thinking through it, you're not responding, you're reacting. And then you say stuff you don't want to say, or things that you're not proud of, whatever you want to say. But it is one of the classic signs I see of my cohorts, that they get the glossy eyed look and what I call the zombie effect. They're a million miles away from enjoying where they are or what they're doing. And it's because their mind's racing, or the subroutine of reliving whatever it is they can't resolve is there. And yet when you deal with yoga and cleansing the mind or being in the present, you can enjoy where you are. And so I do think it's the same thing. It's just a different way of describing it.
Awesome. Yeah. If, Mike, just 1 second. I just want to put in here, Dennis says that yoga and mindfulness have provided me both the time and space to be more responsive rather than reactive to life. So we're pretty much saying the same thing, but I do want Mike, I know you got something good to say here. So.
No, I just want to echo what Ray said. I love in the present, because all of us have a lot of responsibilities in our lives, and we tend to, at least with me, is I'm thinking about the next 4 things I ought to be doing, and not really being present in that. And I think of, like, with my family, like I get to spend time with my grandchildren. I sometimes have to stop, instead of thinking all these work things I need to be doing. Look, I have a great opportunity, and they think I'm great at 4 and 6 years old. When they're 15, they're probably going to say, okay, I don't even, nice you're here, and so I need to really be in the present to, really enjoy that and treasure those times, and pour myself into that, rather than being half my mind on them and half my mind over some work thing that I can do Monday through Friday. So I love Ray's description of the value of in the present.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This really, like, in the present moment, and then cleansing of the mind. Do you think about it? If I'm in the moment, I'm more focused, because I'm focused on what I'm doing right here and now. And it just reminds me of when I teach, I say, look, there's no wrong way. If there's a visual that you think that brings you safety, security, or an overall felt sense of well-being, bring it in. And it reminds me of the student that said his visual was a mosh pit. Now, granted, yeah, somebody of my age and body being all messed up, no, I don't feel all of that with a visual of a mosh pit. But then as I sat with that, I'm like, wait a minute, that might be kind of mindful, because you got to really be in the moment to make sure you don't get your head lopped off, right? So, and my whole point here with this is, it doesn't really matter what brings you to this moment, We got 3 people here, and I'm sure there's at least 8 or more people here, if not all the folks that are on here, that will say that yoga will help us bring us into the moment. I'm sorry, I can't be all twisted or trying to stretch and not be and thinking about what the dog's doing. Because I'm gonna pull something, I'm going to break something, it's just gonna happen. And then what happens is I continue to do it over and over and over again, and then it kind of transfers into my real life without me trying to do it or not. It just happens that way. Why, I don't know. Because I showed up. So, all right, there's one. Oh yeah, suck it up, buttercup. All right. That goes into a really big thing that I have found in my life where I can coddle what I call my fragility. And then you have the opposite of that where I celebrate my resilience. And I found through practicing yoga that there's a problem with going to one extreme or the other. And I did it through mistakes. So like waking up and being in a lot of pain the next day type thing. And I don't suggest that to anybody. So going, I guess, which kind of talks about pain as well. We could probably go with that one if you wanted, but I think we've already talked about that with mindfulness, because now my mind's focused on all of my body. It's not just focused on where my pain is. So my question is, how do you going about now? Because if you look at it in the military, we were always celebrating our resilience, right? You couldn't coddle your fragility. There's no way, right? So now that you're in what you do now, how do you balance that? And for me, I'm just going to go out straight. It's through the practice of yoga. And it's not because, oh, I'm going to go in and work on this or work on that. It's just I show up and let whatever happens happen. I'm not saying that those type, like specific, like yoga for whatever is not needed. It is needed, and it does do good. I just found that for me, it's more like show up and let it happen. So I kind of opened up a whole bunch of can of worms for both of you there. And if you don't want to say anything about what I opened up there, that's fine. Or if you want to say a few things, I'm going to leave it to you two here. Mike, go ahead, because Ray started the last 2 times.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's interesting, kind of beyond yoga, the way that the military, and I started my career in the mid 70s, the 1970s, not the 1870s. But what I found, there was always an emphasis on physical fitness. I started with the Marine Corps, and then both the Marine Corps and the Army, and on physical fitness, and that was obviously a big part of it. And if you were out on a company run and you hurt your ankle and your bone was sticking through your leg, no one would say, "Hey, Marine, tough it out for the rest of your life. You happen to have a bone sticking out of your leg." You would of course get medical care for that. However, when you talked about anything from a mental health standpoint, you were almost radioactive. It's like, I don't want to talk to this guy. It's really just something, hey, we don't talk about that. For the military wants you to have a family or feelings, that issued you those. And so to me, I see some good things about the military today. They're trying to do much more about that and the mental wellness, because I'd argue mental wellness is probably even more important than physical wellness, because your mental wellness is not just affecting you. It affects obviously if you're in the military, your fellow soldiers, Marines, sailors, whatever, but it's affecting your family. And so you end up with something, and then you want to look to say, okay, what are things I can do now that I realize that, my mental wellness is important? What are some ways that I can continually refresh myself with this? And that's really what yoga does in my mind. The same way, if you want to be in shape with your body, you have to continually, regularly exercise. It's just something you have to do. Well, I would say also, for me at least, mentally, I got to do mental exercises. I got to consciously do things. I mean, I don't stumble out of my house and happen to go running. I put on my running shoes, I prepare, I stretch, and I go run. Well, it's the same way from a mental health standpoint. I have to take time, I have to do preparation, then I have to do it to be effective and do it regularly. So that kind of struck me on that. It's one of the avenues, that's one of the ways that you can continually incorporate yoga and probably some other things to help you from a mental wellness standpoint.
Awesome. Thank you. Ray?
I think the same thing. I have to take care of myself so I can take care of others was the mantra that, as longer I went in my career, that had to be my reminder, because I would always sacrifice my rest to do something more for the troops or do something more. And you had to balance it out. And the yoga slash is one of those things that just puts me in place and says, like Sir Mike said, that I do this to keep my mind straight so I can do other things and enjoy other things. And if I don't, then it's like you said, not exercising or not. That's my self-care. It's my maintenance routine that keeps my dinosaur brain kicking in and fight or flee kicking in more frequently. It's the, twice a week is my minimum that makes me a good person to be around and is effective and everything else. So just like working out 3 times a week, I've got to challenge my brain or be in that mode of I care about this in my life, just like you need 8 hours of sleep or run 3 times a week, whatever, to enjoy the rest of it. Is just maintenance that you have to do to enjoy the rest of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you both you guys, because that's really spot on with why we're still answering this, why yoga works for veterans, even though we've kind of went into many different rabbit holes. Dennis here says that the military celebrated endurance and called it resilience. Yoga and mindfulness has provided a definition of resilience that is much different than endurance, and I would definitely agree with that 100,000%. I call it even more profound, but of course that's and maybe that's something else talking in me. The one thing that I want to hit on, we got a few moments here, and it's kind of talking about how do we get them here. Obviously in active duty we got command presence, right? And if we're in a veterans court, you can even say, hey, in order to graduate veterans court, you're going to have to, that's going to be a requirement. Okay. So how do we do that? How do we have a command presence with folks that we can't have command presence with? That is the question to be. And so that would be really more and it kind of comes back to encouraging. I think it also comes back to giving folks like this a voice to say, hey, look, this is what yoga's done for me. I don't know if there's any, what about you two? Are there any other suggestions that you may have?
I think it's getting over the stereotypes. When they first said yoga, I used to say we did stretches. And, when we started in the military, we did stretches before PT. And, that was the big thing, for many years. Well, we don't do stretches, we go out and run. And then it was, no, thou shall do stretches because we hurt too many people. And, the next thing we do is, you're saying you're going out and you're doing mindful exercises or something, and everybody says, oh no, I don't do yoga. But now we do stretches and making it it works, period. Whatever you call it, I don't give a crap. This is working, so give it a try. And, that's my constant message, and I'm pleased to share it. I used to hide that I had PTSD, and now I don't, because it's like, here's a solution, because before there was nothing. And now you can say, hey, this works for me, try it. And that's all you can really do, because until they find that place that they want to try something, they're going to rely on whatever they're trying to get through. But I think just more people say it, it exponentially will increase, because I know that the community that we have continues to increase very slowly, but the people that try it, like you said, Forrest, if they just try it for 3 or 4 sessions, they may not know what's changed. But if somebody else tells them that there's a difference now, and the only factor they can come back to is, hey, I did that yoga last week 3 times, then you notice. But it takes somebody else tickling them and saying there was a difference, because otherwise you don't notice it in yourself.
Mike, do you have anything?
Yeah, I would just say, to me, it was kind of 2 words that both start with V, and Ray talked about. One is vulnerability, is to talk about that we need help. We need to have that. I've had individual counseling, I've had marriage counseling. I mean, they've been very productive for me. So, I mean, you have to first with V, you have to say, you be vulnerable to say, I need help. I need other people to help me with different things. And I need to look for ways that I can have better mindfulness. I can be a better, calmer and all that. And the other thing is V is, I would say, be value. In other words, like what this whole seminar today, this webinar today is about, the value of it. No one was forced to come here. It's because they thought it would be valuable to learn more. And so I think that's what we talk about. And Ray talked about it eloquently. It's the value of it, not just to do it. Okay, well, I'll get it out of the way. I'm going to do it. It's what's the value of it if you embrace it. So be vulnerable to talk about needing something, and then talk about the value of it.
Here.
Yeah, awesome, Mike. Well, we've actually run over on time. So I'm gonna, is there anything else that you two would like to add? I think we pretty much beat this horse as much as it could be beat here, as we used to say it. And I am just so honored that I was able to share each of these moments with each of you. And I'm going to hand it over now to Ashley. She's going to take it over. I think maybe we've got a few minutes to get ourselves ready to practice some yoga. And it's all you, Ashley.
Thanks,
Let me unpin these folks.
And thank you, Michael and Ray, for sharing. I really took a lot from that as a teacher, and listening to you guys share everything today, you as well, Forrest. So if everybody just wants to take a moment and come to a comfortable seat or whatever works for you. We're going to do some practice today with a little bit of a guided meditation and then some movement. And so if you want to come on to your comfortable seat, if you want, I invite you to sit back, get nice and comfortable. If you want to close your eyes or keep your gaze lowered, whatever works for you. And if you're home and you want to lay on the floor and get even more comfortable, that's perfectly fine as well. Do what works for you. This is your practice. I'm just here to lead it for you. And so if you're sitting, you can rest your hands on your knees or on your lap. Stack your shoulders over your hips and your ears over your shoulders, creating some extension in your back. And trust yourself from here to find a form that allows you to remain completely still for the next several minutes. Your body may signal a need to move, like an itch or another minor discomfort. And challenge yourself to examine that sensation without reacting to it. Take a deep inhale here and fill your lungs to the top. Open your mouth and exhale. And we'll take that 2 more times. So take a nice deep inhale. Fill your lungs to the top and exhale. And take a nice deep inhale here. Fill your lungs to the top and open your mouth and exhale. And begin to just allow your breath to fall into a more natural rhythm, effortless, and through your nose, out through your nose. Without trying to control your breath, simply bring your full awareness to the sensation of breathing. Maybe it's a sensation of air passing over your nostrils. Maybe it's the rise and fall of your ribs or your belly. And thoughts will happen here. And when you notice that you're thinking, do not judge yourself. Simply return your attention to the sensation of breathing. Every return to your breath is a return to the present moment. The past is a memory, and the future is imagination. The only place you can truly physically exist is this very moment, this very breath. Bring your awareness to the physical sensation where your body makes contact to whatever is supporting it. So if you're sitting on a chair, can you notice your sit bones on the chair, your back maybe resting against the back of the chair? Or if you're laying down, can you feel what's underneath your body that's supporting you? Feel the weight of your hands where they rest. See if you can feel your heart beating. And maybe you look for the furthest place from your heart that you can feel your pulse. Bring your attention to the sounds in your room. Maybe you have a fan going on or the air conditioning. Maybe any outside noises that you can hear, wind. Attention to your breath, physical sensations, and sounds are all anchors to the present moment. These tools are always available to you on or off your chair or your mat, outside of your yoga practice. Notice your emotional state without judging. Notice if it's different than when you first sat down. See if you can find the physical sensation behind that emotional state. So notice if you're feeling joy, where you may feel that in your body. As we were talking earlier, and Forrest drew our attention to the different things that what other people were saying, what that brought up in us, where we felt that, and where you're feeling this practice right now. Bring your attention back to your breath and just notice what comes up. See if you can cultivate a sense of gratitude. It can be for anything at all. Keeping that in mind, take a deep breath here. Fill up with gratitude and exhale. Again, fill your lungs. See if you can find a physical sensation of gratitude, where in your body you can feel that. And let it go on an exhale. And then slowly, if your eyes have been open, if your eyes have been closed, can you start to begin to blink your eyes open? And can you maintain this present moment awareness throughout your practice today? So I'm going to keep my phone nearby so I can see the time, make sure I'm mindful of everyone's time this afternoon. And as you come back to and your awareness back to your space, whether you're sitting up on your chair or your mat, just begin to notice your body here. Notice that length that we can start to create through our back and our spine. Your arms can be down alongside you, your feet flat on the floor. And we're just going to start to inhale our arms up here. And you can always bring them out in front of you too, if that feels right for your shoulders. And then exhale your arms back down. We'll inhale our arms up. Exhale back down. And we'll take one more sun breath here. We'll inhale our arms up. Exhale our arms back down. And this time when you inhale your arms up, or you can bring them in front of you, begin to interlock your fingers here and flip your palms if you'd like, to create a little bit different movement here. And if you can, try to stay focused on your breath. Notice your inhale and your exhale. And then we'll release that, bring your arms down alongside you. And if you're sitting in your chair, we'll start to walk our feet over towards the right side of our chair. You can rest your feet on the leg of your chair or in front of your chair. If you'd like, you can take your arms up and lean over towards the right as we create a little bit of a crescent shape here. Your arms can always stay down alongside of you and hold on to that chair for some additional support as well. And so you'll feel that length here created alongside your body. And we'll hold here for up to one more round of breath. And then we'll inhale, come back to center. You'll walk your feet back towards the center of your chair. And then with our next exhale, we'll walk our feet over to the left side of our chair this time. So we inhale our arms up and lean over towards the left, creating this crescent shape now on this side. Your arms can also be down along here. This side may feel different than your right side, so just be mindful of that. Do what feels right in your body today. And we'll hold here for up to one more round of breath. And then we'll inhale, come back to center. And we're going to take some movement here, bringing our legs into the movement. So if you'd like, you can inhale your arms up, exhale, bring your left knee in towards your chest, hands down to meet your knee. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, bring your right knee in. You also have the option of keeping your arms down and just bringing your knee in towards your chest as well. And so see if you can match your movement here. Inhale, you lengthen, exhale, bring your knee in. And we'll take this about 1 to 2 more times on each side. All right, let's make sure we're nice and even. We got each one more time. And then we can bring our feet out towards the legs of our chairs, and we're just gonna rock our knees side to side here. And then we'll bring our feet back towards the center of our chair, flat on the chair. We're sitting about halfway on our chair. And we'll begin to bring our hands onto our thighs, and we're going to move through some cat and cow here. So as you inhale, you'll bring your gaze forward, chest forward as you come into your cow. Exhale, round your back, tuck your chin towards your chest as you come into your cat. And so we'll continue here. Inhale through your cow, exhale to your cat. And we'll take this movement up to 1 to 2 more times, and then we'll come back to stillness. And then we'll come back to stillness in our mountain, so our feet are flat, our spine is nice and long, our shoulders are drawn down our back, and we'll just take a round or 2 of breath here. Notice how our body feels now that we start to add some movement. And then we'll begin to inhale our arms up. Exhale and twist and open towards your right. You can bring that left hand to your right knee. That right arm can come back behind you, resting on the chair. We'll just take a few rounds of breath here. And then we'll inhale, come back to center. Exhale and twist and open towards your left. And just be aware of your breath here. And we'll hold for up to one more round of breath. Then we'll inhale, come back to center to our mountain. And we'll inhale and lengthen our left arm, our right arm long as we lean over towards the right side. So the left arm can come down alongside you. And then from here, we'll bring our arm back, coming into a cactus shape or a field goal shape. Then we're going to inhale, lengthen the arm once more. We'll exhale, bring it back down to that cactus or field goal shape. We'll take that up to 2 more times. And then we'll bring our left arm down, our right arm down. Then we'll inhale, lengthen our left arm. We'll lean over towards our left side. And we'll hold here before we start to take that same movement on this side. And then we'll bring our left arm into that cactus or field goal shape, and then we'll inhale and lengthen. Exhale, bring it back. And we'll take that to 2 more times at the pace of your own breath. And then we'll come back to our mountain. And we'll take some movement here with our legs and our knees that I do typically in my classes. And so we'll take our 4 fingers, our thumb, and our second finger. We'll bring our hands underneath our right knee, and we'll start to kick out our right leg as we start to massage around our kneecap. So just using the 4 fingers to massage around the knee and the kneecap here. And then we'll begin to bring that right heel back down to the mat. So we're keeping our foot flexed up here. We'll take our palms on either side of the knee and start to rub alongside the knee to create some heat here. So this helps create some fresh flow movement around the knee because it can get stiff after being sitting for a while. And then we'll bring our foot flat. We'll take our palms one on top of another on top of that kneecap and start to take some circles. Going first in one direction for a couple of rounds. And then we'll start to reverse that movement. And then once we've taken that movement in both directions, we'll come back to that massaging around your kneecap and around the knee. And then we'll bounce out that right leg. And then we'll take that over to our left leg. So we'll bring those 4 fingers again, the rest of our fingers underneath the knee as we start to kick out our left leg and massage around that right left knee. And then we'll bring that left heel to the ground and we'll take our palms alongside our knee and start to create some heat as we rub alongside the knee here. And then we'll go ahead, bring our foot flat on the mat as we take our palms of our hand and start to take some circles around our kneecap. Going first in one direction for a couple rounds, and then we'll start to reverse that movement. And then if you haven't already, begin to reverse that movement. And then we'll begin to massage around our kneecap. And then we begin to bounce out that left knee here. And then we'll come back to our mountain. And we'll come back into our breath and just take a round or two of breath here. Just notice our breath. Notice if it feels different from when we first started with that guided meditation. And then after taking some movement, and just see how it feels now. See if you can notice the different qualities of your breath. If it's a more steady, continuous flow. Or maybe you notice you inhale, pause, and then exhale. And there's no right or wrong way of breathing here. So it's just about being aware of our breath and our body. And we'll take up to one more round of breath. And then we'll begin to inhale our arms up. We'll exhale, fold, bring your hands. They can be in front of you or on your thighs or on your chair. Inhale, you'll come to a flat back so they can be on your thighs, again, your chair, wherever works for you. Exhale, fold. And then we'll inhale, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. And we'll step our right foot back to come into a low lunge. So that right foot can be in between the legs of your chair, or it can rest on that right leg of your chair. We'll have a nice long spine here, our shoulders drawn down your back. And we'll bring our arms up into a cactus shape here. And if you want to add a little bit more of a back bend, you can draw your gaze towards that crease in your wall and feel as if your shoulder blades are drawing closer towards each other. And then we'll come into a twist. So we'll exhale and twist towards that bent knee in front of us, our right knee. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, twist towards your bent knee. Inhale, back to center. And then we'll exhale one last time towards that bent knee. And we'll hold here for up to 3, 2, 1. We'll inhale, come back to center. You can bring your arms down, step that right foot back up. And we'll step our left foot back this time, coming into our low lunge on this side, or it can be placed on that left leg of your chair or in between the legs of your chair. We'll inhale our arms coming into that cactus or field goal shape. We're gonna take that same movement over here. So we're going to twist towards that bent knee. We'll inhale here at center, exhale, twist towards your bent knee. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist towards your bent knee. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist towards your bent knee, and we'll hold here for 3, 2, 1. We'll inhale, come back to center. You can bring your arms down alongside you, and we'll come back to our mountain. And if you like, you can bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your chest here to feel the rise and fall of your inhale and exhale. And just notice where you feel your breath. Is it that touch of air at the tips of your nostrils above your top lip? Is it more that rise of your chest as you inhale? Or the release of your belly on your exhale? And so we're going to move through one more shape here, our tree shape. And so you can stay on your chair for that, or if you want to come up to standing, you can. Always use your chair for support as well. And so our right leg will be our leg that is flat on the floor. You can kickstand your left heel to your right ankle here. You can always, if you're sitting, cross your left foot over your right foot. Or if it works for you today, bringing your left ankle up towards your right knee. And then finding what works best for your arms. So you can leave your arms down alongside you. They can be at your hips, at heart center, or you can always bring your arms up. Same if you're standing. If you want to stand, you can use your chair and bring one hand there and either kickstand that heel to ankle, or maybe you bring your foot onto your calf. And we'll hold here for just another round or two of breath. And then we'll bring our foot back down. We'll shake that leg out. And then we're going to take that to the other side. So this time our left leg will be our standing leg or our foot flat on our mat. You can kickstand your right heel to your left ankle or cross your right leg over your left leg. Or if it works for you to bring that right ankle up to your left knee to come into your tree shape on this side. And then finding what works best for your hands here. We'll take that to one more round of breath here. And then we'll bring our leg back down, shake our leg out, our arms out. And we'll inhale our arms up. And we'll exhale, and we'll come to a fold here. And then we'll inhale, come all the way back up. And exhale, keep your hands to heart center. You can bring your arms down alongside you. We're just going to take a few shoulder rolls here. So start to draw your shoulders up and down your back. And then we'll begin to reverse that movement. And then we'll come back to stillness. And we'll take a little movement with our neck here. So go within your range of rotation. We'll start at the center. Exhale, bring our gaze over towards the left. Inhale back to center. Exhale towards the right. Then we'll inhale, come back to center. Exhale. And just continue with this movement. And then we'll take one more on each side and we'll come back to our center. Then we'll let our chin come towards our left shoulder and we'll just take some half neck rolls here, bringing our chin from side to side. And then we'll come on back to stillness. We'll let our right ear fall towards our right shoulder here. You want to be mindful that your shoulder stays down. If you'd like, you can take your right hand and let it rest on the left side of your head. And then we'll go ahead, release our, if you have your hand on your head, bring it back down. We'll bring our gaze back to neutral and we'll let that left ear come towards our left shoulder. If you want, you can let your left hand rest on the right side of your head. And we'll go ahead and release that. And we'll come back to our mountain here and we'll take 3 rounds of breath where we take a deep inhale and then on your exhale, you can release with a sigh. So we'll take a nice deep inhale, exhale. We'll do that 2 more times. Take a deep inhale, exhale, and take a deep inhale, exhale. And then go ahead, start to come back into your chair and start to come into a comfortable position here, whatever that may be for you. And I invite you once more to either close your eyes or lower your gaze. And you can always come down onto the floor if that's comfortable for you as well. And just allow yourself to come back to your breath. Notice your inhale and exhale. And begin to scan your body from the crown of your head to the tips of your toes. And back up from the tips of your toes to the crown of your head. And notice if there are any areas where you may be holding or tightening. And see if you can just begin to soften. Allow your awareness to come to the muscles of your face, to the center between your eyebrows, across the bridge of your nose. Notice if you're holding or feel any tension there. See if you can just begin to soften around those areas. Notice the touch of air here at the tips of your nostrils as you inhale and exhale. Begin to release any tension you may be holding in your jaw. Let your tongue fall from the roof of your mouth as you part your teeth slightly. As you start to draw your awareness down your neck, your shoulders, see if you can release any tension here as you go. Start to draw your awareness down the length of your arms to the tips of your fingers, and feel the touch of air here at the tips of your fingers. Begin to draw your awareness back up your arms to your shoulders. Relax your chest, your ribs. Soften your belly. As you start to draw your awareness to your hips, start to release any holding you or gripping you may have here in your hips. Draw your awareness down the front of your legs, across the tops of your feet, to the tips of your toes. And feel the touch of air here at the tips of your toes. Relax the soles of your feet, the back of your lower legs, your hamstrings, your glutes. See if you can soften here at your lower back, your mid back, your upper back. As you draw your awareness to the back of your neck, back of your head, crown of your head, begin to notice your body now, effortless and at ease. As you allow your mind here to rest on your breath, let your breath be your primary anchor, your connection to the present moment. And we'll be here in silence just for a minute or so. And once it's time to come on up to close our practice, I will cue you with my voice to come back. As you start to begin to bring your awareness back to your space and this present moment, just begin to start to bring some small movements back to your fingers and toes. If your eyes are closed, begin to blink your eyes back open. And then we'll come on up to close the practice. And if you want, you can bring your hands together at heart center and bow your head in gratitude for your practice this afternoon. And thank you for sharing your practice with me. May you be well. May you be happy. May you know peace. Thank you. Thanks everyone if you were able to stick around for the yoga. We appreciate you all joining. I don't know if anyone has anything to finish to close this practice this afternoon.
Thank you so much. Have a great week, everybody.
You too, Ray. See you next week.
Thanks, Ray, again, man. It was awesome. Thank you, Ashley. That was a really good class.
Right back at you, Forrest.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining today. I had fun. I'm gonna stick around if there are any questions or anything. If you all have any, I'm open for any questions that you may have. Excuse me.
Thanks, everyone.